No surprise that Doug Ford is undoing Kathleen Wynne's legacy. Ontario's 26th Premier never made a secret of his contempt for the progressive pretensions of his predecessor during his winning campaign. So far, so fair. Premier Doug Ford prepares to meet with Toronto Mayor John Tory at Queen's Park on July 9, 2018. Ford's conservative goals risk unraveling our national fabric, Martin Redcone writes, Lucas Oleniak, Toronto Star, but Ford's conservative goals go far beyond provincial borders. Now, unraveling and resetting the national agenda is top of mind. Regardless of whether Ontario voters signed on for a war of attrition and ambition between Queen's Park and Ottawa, they are about to get one. So is the rest of Canada. As Prime Minister Justin Trudeau discovered on a courtesy call to the Premier's office last week, Ford's election will have an impact across the country. Article continued. Bellow and climate change, pharmacare and refugee resettlement. Ford's targets are as much national as provincial. For the self-styled leader of Ford Nation, the national stage is taking center stage. Read more. Trudeau has saddled Tory with a mess on asylum seekers. Ford says Ontario leads refugee rhetoric sending ripples. Concern West to BC Immigration Minister criticizes Ontario Tories' language on asylum seekers' plan of action and inaction. On pharmacare, do as little as possible. This is his least expected but most misunderstood move so far. A day after his swearing-in, without any prior notice, Ford's government quietly rescinded the universality of OHIP. Now, children and young adults can only seek reimbursement from government if they, or their parents, are not fully covered by a private insurer, to whom they must first submit any bills, potentially waiting months to get any money back. Article continued below. Many Ontarians who now have workplace benefits may be shrugging their shoulders, but it's not so simple. This move precludes the kind of national pharmacare program that was always envisioned when Medicare was founded a half-century ago, a single-payer system that saves money by avoiding duplication in diagnostic and administrative costs from private insurers. We don't tell sick people to pay doctors out of their own pockets and get reimbursement from private insurers first, backstopping them with a US-style Medicaid program. Why do it for drugs? By essentially reprivatizing OHIP, Ford has forestalled the billions of dollars in estimated savings that would come from scaling up to a fully universal single-payer and single-buyer system that could get the best bulk prices from pharmaceutical giants who now overcharge private insurers for generics. Kicking the legs out from OHIP just as the federal government was trying to cobble together a national pharmacare program will deal it a death blow. On climate change, do nothing. As advertised, albeit false advertising, Ford is canceling the so-called cap-and-trade carbon tax that never existed. Yes, Ontario had a cost-effective cap-and-trade system that placed a price on carbon, which was ultimately passed on to consumers just like any other cost of doing business, much like wastewater permits. Ontario never had a BC-style carbon tax, but thanks to Ford it's coming soon. That's because Ottawa has mandated a price on carbon that will be imposed in Ontario by default, once cap-and-trade is ended. Queen's Park will waste $35 million fighting and losing in court, at which point we can rechristen it the new Ford Nation carbon tax on refugees. Like carbon pricing, every word is a wedge. Ontario's mean-spirited labeling of asylum seekers as illegal border crossers is designed to demonize and delegitimize them. For it is irrelevant under international and Canadian law how refugee claimants cross a border. From the moment they make a claim until it is rejected, they have protected legal status. There is a process that is currently not being followed by illegal border crossers. Ford's office declared in a deliberately provocative statement criminalizing them the day Trudeau visited. In reality, people seeking asylum come any way they can, regardless of the process we might want. Short of an electrified fence, securing a border is a complicated question. But it is folly to pretend there are easy answers, which is why Ford's government has none. just wedges. On all these issues, Ontario is leading the charge in going backwards. The national destabilization wrought by Ford stands in stark contrast to the province's political history. Previous premiers, John Robarts, Bill Davis, David Peterson, Bob Rae, led the way forward on national unity and unity of purpose. Robarts founded OHIP as Medicare came into being, and fostered the Canada Pension Plan. Davis provided leadership on patriation of the Constitution. What will Ford's legacy be on climate change, pharmacare and refugee resettlement? Far more than unwinding Wynn's agenda, Ford risks unraveling our national fabric in pursuit of winning wedges. Martin Reichhon is a columnist based in Toronto covering Ontario politics. Follow him on Twitter, @Reichhon.